Hello, and welcome back to the Follow Your Spark podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to today's guest, Kristen Arant. And this is someone who I've been following over the years and have been such an admirer of her work. And Kristen is a musician, an activist, a teaching artist whose mission is to facilitate skilled artistry, self expression, and build intergenerational community rooted in diversity and create joyful music that deepens and expands the world's knowledge and appreciation of West African musical instruments, genres, and cultures. And like I said, I was trying to remember the first time I ever saw you. I feel like I've seen you at festivals and different things. The energy, the passion, everything that I've seen from you is so contagious and magnetic. And like I said, I am such an admirer. So I'm so grateful to have you on the show today. So thanks for joining me.
Thanks. Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be here finally.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I really thought of you right now is because I've been thinking so much about this concept of answering the call and what it means to have a calling, what it means to pursue a calling. So that's one of the things I'm so excited to talk to you about, of just like that journey of answering different calls in your life. So if you're listening to this and you feel like you have some kind of call on your heart that you've been wanting to pursue, stick around. This conversation is going to be for you. And before we get into all of that, the first question I love to ask people is, when you hear that phrase, to follow your spark, what does that mean to you? What comes up for you when you hear that, if anything?
Mm. Well, it goes back to too long to even remember the first time that I did it. But I feel that it's something that you have to do it. It's compulsory. You're driven to it. And I think that as a person gets older, as I'll speak for myself, as I've gotten older, and you take on more responsibilities, and you may start to question
Mm.
some of that, because when you're young and you don't necessarily have anyone that you have responsibility to but yourself. I mean, not everyone grows up that way, but you know, as you take on more duty and more responsibility, it may become more difficult to follow those feelings of passion inside. So it takes bravery and just to like do it.
Mhm.
I tell my kids that I teach, bravery is a type of strong, right? And it means that you're afraid. You might be afraid to do something, but you do it anyway. So I just feel like that is what I've been doing since I was a kid.
Mhm.
And some of it I don't understand where it came from.
Mhm.
And some of it I know is a result of dealing with childhood trauma.
Mm.
And so as a way of becoming myself, becoming a person that I felt had an impact on the world, a positive impact,
Mm.
that I followed these sort of passions or cues from a very young age to counteract what I was experiencing in
Mm.
my own life.
Mm.
And I think that it could have gone a lot of other directions. And I'm proud, I guess, of the way that it did manifest in me. And I'm grateful. And I know also that some part of it is ancestral, and it's not even, I'm not even sure exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
It's a lineage. I don't know. Astrologers have told me that it's part of who I am, to
Mm.
be doing this, work, and to be who I am.
Mhm.
That I'm part of a long, very long history of strong women, you know what I mean, who are working on behalf of other women and humanity.
Mhm.
So I try to embody that as much as possible
Yeah.
in everything that I do. Now, is it exhausting sometimes? Yes. And like I said, the responsibilities and all the things that come up in life make it harder to keep going at the level that I want to go.
Mhm.
So then I become grateful for all of the supporters that I have, who are mostly my students,
Mm.
people that I have taught or brought to the drum and helped foster their authentic self through drumming over the years.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow. So it sounds like this idea of the spark to you feels like something that is so compulsory, so loud within yourself that it's really calling you towards something, driving you towards something, and there could be different motivations for that, different originators of that spark, and yet it's something that just like an energy that moves you forward that
Like
cannot.
a child.
Hmm.
Like the energy that children have when they become excited, joyful, expressive.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that comes from, I think that, I don't know, a lot of people don't believe in astrology, but I have a chart
Oh,
that really,
you can talk about astrology all you want.
yeah, I mean, so the Aries in my chart and the 4/4 Aries, like the fact that it's, well, it's a time signature for one thing, but also like my birthday, but also it's this day in astrology where if you're born on that day, there's a lot of creative passion and spark that comes out naturally. And I share that birthday with Maya Angelou, Jill Scott, Muddy Waters, like some really great creative minds and forces in the world. And I don't know, I think that there's something about that. And then the Leo rising, like just being, I guess, not afraid to put myself out there.
Yeah.
And then being bold, all of that is in my chart. And then there's the Capricorn Aquarius cusp moon
Mm.
going on. So, I mean, there's a lot of drive.
Yeah.
I just have a lot of drive, but I am tired. I
Mm.
mean, I've been doing a lot for 30 plus years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I get it. You're talking to a Aries Sun Capricorn rising as well, so I have
Wow, cool.
drive as well. I think there's a lot of things we could probably relate about. And I would love to hear, and I, from you sharing a little bit with me about your history, I'm sure there's many, many things. And what I'm curious about is right now, are there any tipping point calls that you feel like you answered throughout your life that you just want to touch on? Maybe like one, two, three max. Like what's coming to your mind right now? Like moments where you felt this strong call and you answering it maybe change the trajectory of your
Oh
life.
yeah. When I was in college, I was studying the oboe, which is an instrument that very few people play. That I It chose me. I was the only person in 7th grade that could play the reed of the oboe. And so I wanted to play the drums or the saxophone. And I got the oboe because I could play it. And so I then went through getting type 1 diabetes in the summer after 7th grade. And it changed everything.
Mm,
And it was really difficult back then because all of the things that you had to do to take care of yourself took a long time, and it involved like pricking your finger and squeezing blood out and waiting for a machine to tell you the number and then using that to draw insulin out of a syringe and giving yourself insulin and then keeping track of your diet all the time. And always having to have something on hand for when I was low. The low blood sugars were really scary, and I was just a kid. And so that changed me absolutely forever. And there was a lot of grief associated with that incident. And I just remember crying in the hospital constantly, trying to get my brain to understand that this is going to be the rest of my life.
mm,
Like I was never again going to be able to ever have a day off from
mm,
this.
mm,
So this became a huge responsibility that I had to take care of inside of myself, and I was 13. So that was a big deal. So I had, something that happened to me the next year where I was ostracized because I couldn't tell my friends what was going on with me. I was too embarrassed because of that age. And they assumed something really bad was happening and that I was doing drugs in the bathroom. So I had this sort of ousting of all of my friendships that led to suicidal thoughts and ideation. I did come out of it, but the way I came out of it was through music.
mm,
Um, I practiced that oboe for hours and hours every night, and I got really good at it, even though it's a really difficult instrument to play. And then I started doing competitions and I got a scholarship to do it in college. I went to college and I studied it, but I had this opportunity with my teacher in college who was leaving the school, and she was the best, most inspirational teacher of music of any kind that I had ever had up until that point. And she was teaching me about the spirit of music and the
Mhm.
spirit that I can put into my oboe when I play, and like
Mhm.
how I can express myself through the instrument.
Mm.
And she was leaving and she was going to another school, and she asked me to go with her and play in the tri-state orchestra as second chair. And I didn't go. I didn't go. And I started taking English and journalism courses to round out my music courses, transferred to a bigger school, and became an activist for, especially a feminist, because I took a women's studies class and it blew my mind. And when a friend gave me a drum to use while I was going out and doing all this, direct action work, it really embodied like the spirit of resistance,
Mm.
brought people together and amplified the message of whatever was being said
Mm.
and whatever was being fought for or spoken of in those situations.
Mhm.
So I found the drum through activism.
Mhm.
And I would not have gotten to activism if I had followed my teacher to
Yeah.
play in the orchestra.
Yeah.
And when you think about the division there, it's really stark because right now, probably I would just be an oboist in an orchestra. But the all of the things that I have gotten to do and all of the people that I've gotten to meet and influence through the work that I've done through the drum,
Mhm.
like to imagine that that wouldn't be there
Yeah.
is incredible. That I would be just an oboe player. I mean, maybe a great one. Who knows? I mean, I could have done some other things with it that would have been, different or creative. But the drum is the activist instrument. It
Yeah.
is the tool of an activist to use a drum to create the rhythms that help to amplify the messages of an activist.
Yeah.
And so using that drum helped me also to activate my grief and my depression and my deep sort of wound of the diabetes and what I grew up with my father and his PTSD from Vietnam, and how hard it was being in that house all those years with him.
Mhm.
And it gave me a portal to basically pound my emotions into something
Mhm.
and have it come out as joy and power.
Mhm.
And I feel that drum, that first drum that I was given, and the experiences that I had with it, they have basically sculpted the rest of my life.
Mhm.
Because as I had, my interest and my commitment to women's liberation from,
Mhm.
from this sort of patriarchal structure and all of the stuff that we've had to deal with underneath of it forever.
Yeah.
And then my commitment to the liberation and justice for, especially for people of color
Mm.
and especially people of African descent. And then when I was doing journalism at the University of Missouri Columbia, I began writing and researching about the communities in Columbia, Missouri, where I lived, that were like the women's community, the African Americans community, and then the people who were activists for causes. And those are the communities that I covered for the newspaper that I worked at there. So I really got an education in social justice, human rights, feminism, like in college while I was actually doing the work of a journalist and an activist. And I started an organization there called the Radical Alliance for Women because we needed something that was more radical than now.
Yeah.
It wasn't radical enough. And I led campaigns to try and stop rape on campus, like things that were really edgy that a lot of other people wouldn't touch.
Wow.
And so, I mean, all of that came from the same spark,
Mm.
but it also came from the feelings and the emotions in my gut that I was trying to process, right? So
Mm.
I realized that I was processing them through my work, through my drum.
Mm.
Actually, I've been doing that all along,
Yeah.
and but then trying to get other people involved so they can do it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. Like I realized, like over all these years that's really what I've been doing.
So powerful. So I have some questions.
Yeah.
I think about answering the call. It sounds like when you were 13, 15, like as the years went on, you didn't have this vision of where your life was going to end up. So looking back on that journey that you just shared, are there any biggest like nuggets, insights, like things you want to remember or can see looking back about what it takes to answer the call? And even like if you were speaking to yourself at 13, like what would you want to whisper in your ear or like tell yourself in that moment that you've learned now that you're like looking back on this journey?
Wow. Okay, well, it's kind of a little bit of a balance there because some of the things that I got into, I thought that I was being brave, but maybe I was being reckless
Hmm.
over my youth. But the interesting thing about that is that the things that I did that were brave and that were bold, like I wonder if those could exist without the mistakes. And I don't know if they could.
Yeah.
And so I think that the message is really that you have to allow yourself, I don't want to use the word fail, maybe flail, maybe there are things that are going to be that are bumpy and rocky, and you know there's a survival instinct that will kick in, but the ability to thrive, it's like you have to integrate the both of those sides of yourself into one, and you know to actually accept both of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's tough, especially, I have to admit, as I'm getting older, you start to have these feelings of like, well, if I had only done that or not done that, or why did I do that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I don't know that that's productive at all. Like
Yeah.
there's all the only thing that you can actually do in the end is have grace.
Yeah. Yeah. 1000%.
So grace and power,
Mm.
they have to go hand in hand. Bravery and grace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like everything is a learning experience. And while on one hand, I feel like many people could like look back on what could be perceived as a failure or a mistake and be like, man, I wish I didn't have to go through that. And yet there's so many lessons I'm hearing that you've learned in each of those moments that your life likely would not look like what it looks like today, or you wouldn't have experienced some of the most beautiful moments of your life had you not gone through those moments of like friction, tension, flailing. And how so often, like I tell my coaching clients all the time, like, don't wish away your challenges because with those challenges can come so much learning, so much wisdom if we choose to look at them like that instead of spending time and energy thinking, oh man, I wish I had done something differently, or what if, and if only, and all these things. So like you said, they just drain our vital life force energy. So if we want to connect to the power that's available within us, the more we can give ourselves grace and look back on our journey and have gratitude and be proud of ourselves for how far we've come, like that creates so much fuel to move forward from.
Yeah, and if I had the ability, which I do sometimes, and I wish I will more in the future, to advise people who are on a path, who have hit a hard spot, or who are on a path and are trying to figure out how to get out of the weeds,
Yeah,
out of the mess of tangled briars, or whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
that I wish I had from early on began a personal practice, and that it had been a practice of acknowledging gratitude,
Mm,
what I'm grateful for
mhm,
every day,
mhm,
and actually looking in the mirror and making statements of love to
mm,
myself.
mhm.
I actually think that I would be in really a great place. I'm not in a bad place.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing okay. I mean, I have to get a pretty big surgery done in the end of March, and I'm a little scared about that, but I'm trying to be brave about that too. But I do feel that if I had done that, that's really the main missing piece that I wish I had done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I don't think that many young people think of doing that in this culture.
Mm-hmm.
And unless they have access to parents or people who are, influence them at an early age to do those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
When you grow up and you're struggling with just like survival and you're kind of always in a fight or flight
Mm-hmm.
state,
Mm-hmm.
it does affect you as an adult, even if you think that it won't.
Yeah.
You think that it's just youth, you'll get over it, you'll move on. That's what I thought as well. It does come back, it affects you in every way, and the simple practice of self-love and gratitude, it can change that. And
Yes.
and I've tried it a few times and tried it, stopped. And that's because of, the same lizard brain thing that I've had all these years. And
Yeah.
I would just say to anyone who's on a path, yes, the bravery and the creativity and the grace are all wonderful, but the grace part has to include this practice. There
Yes.
has to be a practice.
Absolutely.
And you should, maybe we should check in, another couple of years or something, and you can ask me, because maybe by then I'll have made it consistent.
Mm.
That's the goal.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's an invitation both for yourself as well as for everyone listening. And it's interesting because I had this like same epiphany in 2025. I feel like throughout most of my life, I spent a lot of time thinking about how far I have to go, what's not working, like the critical, judgmental thoughts.
Yes.
And in 2025, I just saw this pattern so like in my face again and again. And I had been trying to heal it for years and trying to, create different patterns. And I read about this concept of the gap versus the gain. And it's especially entrepreneurs, visionaries, motivated people who have big dreams, who are super passionate and driven, like you, like me, have this tendency to look at what's the gap? What's
Yeah.
how far I have to go to get me to that next level? And no matter what we accomplish, like it's
It's not enough. Yeah.
not enough. It's harder to look for the gain. So
Yeah.
I started to really train my brain and work on this really diligently as like the number one most important thing I can do. And I'm starting to see the shift, and it frees up so much creative energy, so much inspiration just to think about anything else. It's so much more useful than thinking about the gap. So I 100% agree with you. It's why my coaching program now is called Own Your Becoming, because when we own our journey and feel proud of how far we've come, that's when we can develop this confidence and courage internally to fuel the future.
Yeah.
So I love that you called this out. And for sure, if you're listening to this right now and this is something that you struggle with, it's okay. Like our human brains do this. We
Yeah.
all look for what's negative. So there's not something uniquely wrong with you. And B, see if you can start practicing this. Like I've been every day now, like writing out my celebrations. Like you said, what are you grateful for? And for me, it's like not just what am I grateful for? It's like, what am I really celebrating about myself and really telling myself, like, what I did today is enough. And this is why I'm like, good job. Like, really telling myself, like, good job today. And just seeing the impact of that. So I just love that you called that out as something really important.
And one thing that I did have to do while I was trying that, right? Because it's hard for me when you have a very well developed lizard brain, right, from childhood trauma. And I know a lot of people do have childhood trauma. So one thing that I did that helped was imagine myself as a little girl.
Yeah.
And I teach that age,
Hmm.
the age at which I began experiencing the trauma, which was 5.
Hmm.
And so I would imagine one of those little girls in my class
Hmm.
as me.
Yeah.
And what would I say to her now as her teacher if I knew that's what she was going through?
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of tricks. It's not even a trick, it's a real thing. But, like, you know what I mean? Like any sort of way through.
Yeah.
Because you can't go around.
No. It's gonna keep you're gonna whatever path you take, it's gonna meet you there.
Yeah.
So, 100%, and I love that, and that sounds so healing that you getting to work with children at that age, you can use and notice, "Oh, what would I tell them?" And then, like, use that to reinforce, "I'm telling myself this too. I'm telling the five-year-old little girl inside of me this message too." So,
Exactly.
what a beautiful reminder.
Yeah.
And I am really curious to talk about your experience with women and drumming and why you feel like it's so important for women or so useful, impactful for women to drum. And especially, I remember hearing a story about you noticing of when girls and boys were together and how the girls were playing, and then when the girls were separate, how did they play? So, yeah,
Yeah.
anything that you want to talk about of like why women and drumming. And I'm like a drummer too. I'm like so with you on this. So
Yeah.
I'm so
Oh my gosh. Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
pausing this interview for a moment to share that if you feel like you have a call on your heart that's beckoning you forward and yet you've struggled to follow it, I have a masterclass coming up that's designed to support you with exactly that. It's called Answer the Call. Because I know that it can be challenging sometimes with the busyness of everyday life, with all of our fears and doubts and insecurities, all the things that could get in the way of tuning in to even listen to the call on your heart and then having the courage to answer it. So, whether you have a grand vision in mind, or if there's even a little tiny flame of a spark that you want to pursue, this masterclass is for you. We'll spend time illuminating the call on your heart that's beckoning you forward, explore what's actually getting in your way, because so often I find what holds people back is really different than they think. And then we'll explore the tools or practices that can help you develop the confidence and courage to move forward and trust yourself to answer that call one step at a time. So if you are ready to share your gifts, express yourself, live your most inspired, purposeful, passionate life, this masterclass is for you. It's completely free. It's on March 13th from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can go to ginakasbara.com/answer the call to RSVP. Even if you can't attend live, you'll be able to get access to the recording, so make sure you sign up. And if you're feeling this call, I cannot wait to hear about the dreams on your heart. And now let's get back to the interview.
I knew what it was doing for me in terms of, and I knew through my friendships and close relationships with women throughout my life that there's a default to hold things in. That it, I think that it's less now than it used to be. I see that with my girls at the school, but it's not gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it also depends on where they come from, what sort of access they have to, basically safety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if there's not a lot of access to safety, then women don't feel that they can safely express the parts within them
Mm-hmm.
that are volatile,
Mm-hmm.
that they've been squashing down. And it could be grief, rage, any manifestation of those,
Mm-hmm.
or even exquisite joy.
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted was to make safe spaces for women to be able to experience what I experienced. And I started with girls. I did a class with women. The first one I ever did was in 2005. At the same time that I started the Young Women's Drumming Empowerment Project in DC. And the mission of this project was to uplift young women's authentic self, like bring out their authentic selves and uplift them
Mm-hmm.
through the drum, spoken word, poetry, songwriting, singing, movement, performance.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is, the transformation that I saw in the girls is what I have just had no doubt after seeing that what was possible. And the reason that I started the project was the story that you started to tell. I began working in schools teaching drumming to middle schoolers at a school in Washington, D.C., and it was co ed. And this was in 2004. And the boys, they really dominated, the space. They played loud. They were wearing pants for one thing. There were uniforms, and the girls wore skirts a lot. And So the girls would side saddle, they would put their drum on the side and fit like this.
Yeah.
And we're talking seventh grade, eighth grade. So this is not a time when girls are going to be trying to show their, their actual emotions to boys. They don't want to be seen that way. They're worried about their hair, their clothes, their image.
Yeah.
So, it was frustrating because I couldn't get them to even hold the drum between their legs. But then one day the boys had a sports activity and they weren't there.
Hmm.
That's when that was a pivotal moment in my whole life, in all of my work, was to see the girls take the drum between their legs and beat that drum, like beat it hard
Hmm.
and raise their voices,
Hmm.
the chants and the singing and like just unbridled power, passion, joy, all of it.
Yeah.
And so that is what led me to write a grant for the DC Arts Commission. It was called the Young Artist Project. It was for artists under 30 at the time, to start this project, which I thought was going to be one summer.
Mm.
And then I got my artist, activist, female friends involved to teach them poetry and songwriting and dance and movement and theater and all this other stuff. And then I taught most of the drumming, but I also brought in some drumming instructors as well. And it just was an incredible rite of passage transformation.
Yeah.
They came in shy,
Yeah.
came in not wanting anyone to hear what their voice even sounded like. Okay. And then they take the drum and play it, and it makes the the quiet go away.
Mm.
It's loud by nature.
Mm.
Now they've been loud, so they don't have the fear of being loud anymore.
Hmm.
So then through encouragement and this empowerment style of teaching, and they write out their own experiences through prompts
Yeah.
and then turn those into spoken word.
Yeah.
And, we had amazing instructors who would help them to craft these poems into spoken word and then speak them with power. And it was an overwhelming, just the whole body chills kind of situation where you would see a girl who would not speak,
Yeah.
and then she was on stage, 6 8 weeks later, and with this memorized piece of extraordinary power and expression
Hmm.
that relayed her own experience,
Hmm.
her views, her understanding,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? And it brought audiences to their feet every time. And the drumming was the portal. And I saw that was the portal, and I was just like, this is amazing. So that project went on for 10 years, but then a lot of other life stuff happened.
Yeah.
And I want to bring that project back.
Hmm.
That is why I'm looking into this other way of teaching, where hopefully I can bring in students who want to support that project starting back up.
Mm.
And so their learning becomes in part this way of funneling funds and support into starting that project again, because the need for it never went away.
Yeah.
But I did have a baby.
Mm.
And I went to Ghana 5 times with a partner and took tours there, and I had to do that. I had to go to Africa. I had to. I mean, it was another compulsory thing, not that I didn't want to, but I couldn't afford it before I met Kwaku, who someone introduced me to in DC, and we became partners and started running these amazing tours there that were cultural and musical immersion tours. And I had a child, and then I had a storefront in DC that I got a grant to run called Hands on Drums with Kwaku. And that was a whole period of 10 years. And now I'm in another period. So Kwaku and I are not together anymore. I'm teaching at this school and doing these like incredible projects with these kids. And I'm, fostering the growth of my teen boy.
Mhm.
I had a boy. I mean, like, right? So life is incredible, right? I have a female partner now. Like everything is shifted.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I'm really hearing, like talking to you, is when it comes to answering the call, it's like part us, of part, our willpower, our drive, like following that. And then the universe is co creating with us in so many beautiful ways. Like if that moment hadn't happened where the boys had the sports thing and the girls were by themselves,
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe
No,
it
it wouldn't have.
never would have
I
come.
don't think I would have done it. I mean, it was, my life is full of those.
Yeah.
It's absolutely full of those. But I think that what I did, whereas maybe some people need more time and more encouragement, but with the Aries, Leo, Capricorn thing, just, I just took the moment and ran with it
Yeah.
every time.
Yes.
And that's what I've been doing.
Yes.
And do I want a little more peace? Yes. I'm ready and I'm trying to figure out the balance of that. And being a parent, I will say, is the hardest job. Everyone says this, the most rewarding and the most difficult job that you can have. And I didn't even know if I was going to do it or not. And I wound up doing it. And that is pretty extraordinary.
Mm,
And I wonder about the different ways that my work, the different forms that it's taken,
mm,
and how the life and personal shifts have all been part of the work
mm.
whole time. Like I don't have this work and life separation thing that
Yeah.
people talk about. And I kind of want that now, or want more of that. And
Mm,
I know that I won't ever have it completely, and that's okay with me because that's just me. But I am looking for more peace, and I'm looking for that peace in an environment that is extraordinarily toxic right now in the United States.
mm,
And as a teacher in a profession that is underpaid.
mm.
So I'm seeking again.
Yeah.
And you never are too old to do that.
Yeah.
And when it's time to do that, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Or
Love
you cannot do it. But if you don't do it, then what happens is that you become, I feel honestly like less connected to source.
Yeah, 100%. And what I'm really hearing is again, when you're able to tune into the spark and you have the courage to listen, opportunities open up, gifts open up, blessings open up, synchronicities, also challenges,
Yeah.
also detours,
Yeah.
also obstacles. It's all
It's all the things.
journey. It's
Yeah.
all the things. So if you're listening to this and something is calling you forward, even if it doesn't feel like this grand, big, bold vision where you can see where you're going, but there's something random nagging at you, begging you to do something, just do it. Just
Yeah.
allow
Because
yourself to do it. And
there's only one life. I
yeah,
mean, we don't know, maybe, but everybody has their own opinion about that. But
yeah,
like the one with you right now in your body and your brain.
yeah,
So do you want your life to be rich?
yeah.
I can honestly say with wholehearted absolutism that my life has been rich.
Yes, that is clear. So, and I am just so grateful for the work that you do. And this is another massive impact that I see when each of us as individuals have this courage to follow the spark. I'm sure there are hundreds, thousands, who knows how many people that you have impacted in your life and will continue to. And then how you impacted them is going to impact other people. Like the ripple effect is endless. And I think for, especially right now when the world feels so daunting and we have all these tragedies and challenges in our face every single day, it's so easy to think, I have no power. There's nothing I can do. I can't possibly have any kind of impact to be able to trust. When you do this, when you follow that courageously, we can influence, we can impact. So I'm
Yeah,
so
it's
grateful for your work.
thank you. And I thank you very much. And I think that from my activist days, there's an adage that's true, which is think globally, act locally.
Yeah,
Many people know this, right? And that's how it should be.
yeah.
I do feel that way. And if everyone acted locally on the behalf of, justice, peace,
Mhm.
empowerment, love, and creating spaces of unity
Mhm.
in whatever way that they can with their own talents. I really do believe that sort of each person has gifts to give and should put them out there. And if everyone does that, there will be a lot more peace, justice, empowerment, and love.
Absolutely.
and unity.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking of which, how can people get involved with the work that you do?
Well, my website is drumlady.com. That's easy. A lot of people engage with me through my website because I will put up there like the things that are coming up. Studying drumming with me has been very impactful for many people for more reasons than just learning how to play well. So there's a testimonial page on there that folks can check out. But I have a Zoom drum class that's starting this week. It starts on Wednesday and it's going to go for 4 weeks through the month of March on Wednesday evenings at 6:30 Eastern. And does it start this Wednesday? I believe so. Sometimes I forget dates.
Yeah, we'll put all the info in the show notes. And if it
Yeah.
does start this Wednesday and someone misses it, this interview is actually going to go live on the eclipse tomorrow, March 3rd, which is so beautiful. If someone misses that first day, is it recorded? Could they still sign up and like jump in March and go back and watch the
Yeah,
recording?
there's a little product on the page that is a drop-in,
Okay.
and you would use that instead of purchasing the package if you want to drop into the Zoom drum. I'm leading an ensemble class, which has been great. We're doing a performance at my rhythm room in Tacoma Park, Maryland on March 29th, and it's going to be at 6 o'clock, and that's going to be beautiful. I'm doing women's rhythm catharsis events, which are new and they've been going on for a year. This month is a year, and I started them last year because people were just, I could sense that the women needed to scream.
Yeah.
And so the women's catharsis events involve a little bit of instruction, playing, chanting, and then leading up into a primal scream, which I don't just come out and do it. Like I help like foster using the voice, opening the heart, opening the chest, opening the throat through chanting while drumming. And then at the end, there's a process of getting to the scream.
Mhm.
And we usually do two of them because sometimes people are scared to do the first one. And letting that scream out while drumming together in a room of women is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
And the release is, I think that all of the women who have come have really appreciated having the space to do that.
Yeah.
And women have come from all walks of life. And I'm trying to build that. I'm trying to build the catharsis into something bigger
Mhm.
that is, maybe even in different cities or whatever. So people who are interested in maybe starting one in their own town could connect with me about how to do it, and I can send a video. But also folks should come and try it out. And so like just checking the website for the next one is great for that. Yeah, in March I'm doing an event also. It's a mini women's retreat with Victoria Cunningham, who does movement-based rituals with women. And so it's a 3-hour event, and it's happening on Sunday the 22nd from 1 to 4, and it's called Return to Rhythm.
Mhm.
And it will have drumming, chanting, dancing, journaling. It's just a great equinox opportunity
Mhm.
for like getting back to your authentic self through all of these different, modalities, somatic modalities.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
such beautiful work. We will put all the links to everything in the show notes. If you're listening to this, absolutely check something out. You can go virtually, you can go in person. And again, I am just so grateful for this like necessary healing work that you are doing and the light you are in this world. So thank you so much for joining me today.
You're so welcome. Anytime.
Beautiful. I know I wish this conversation could go on. Maybe we'll have a part two. But yeah, thanks so much and we'll
Okay.
talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.